Black people need to own our own businesses, which will provide an economic base. Teach our youth to become self-sufficient. Learn how to maximize our political affiliations and fight for criminal justice reform. You just tuned in to Black Power Presents with your host, Antonio Lipscomb. Come on, let's talk.
Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Again, that phone number is 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Again, that phone number is 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org.
Hello, family. It's yours truly, Antonio Lipscomb. I am your host for Black Power Presents. As you know, each week we start out with the backdrop of what's going on in the studio. If you want to be a part of our radio broadcast, you would simply dial in 317-239-1310 to be a part of this wonderful broadcast. We have a wonderful special guest that we're bringing on today, and I'm not going to reveal her name until y'all see my numbers. Well, until I see my numbers climb up.
We got 10 seconds.
We got about 10 seconds that we're going on the radio, so just stay with us. Again, Black Power Presents, and we're excited about this broadcast that's coming to you live in the studio right now. All right. So you said about 10 seconds?
Yeah, I'm going to count you down.
Okay. 239-1310. Feel free to leave your chats in the chat section for our wonderful guests that we're going to be bringing on in a moment. 239-1310 is the number to call and to be a part of this broadcast. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, beginning of the weekday. We always start ours off with our
10, 9,
radio
8,
broadcast.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live.
All right, my radio listening audience, it's yours truly, Antonio Lipscomb. I am proud to be your host of Black Power Presents. Again, we're live on the radio. We have a special guest with us, our own Pike Township trustee is going to be with us in a moment. But we're just so glad to have you again, beginning the week with us, to be able to discuss a variety of different topics that kind of plagues the Black community. And we are certainly excited to have one of the greatest persons that we could bring onto our show, someone who's very phenomenal and also I consider to be a trailblazer here in this city by the way of our Pike Township, Annette M. Johnson, that will be with us in a second. I want to encourage those that are listening, for those who might need some trade skill opportunities as well as job placement. Our sponsor is Minority Contractors Collaboration. I don't give a shout out to the sponsor as much as I should, but if you're interested in taking some type of a trade or related skill, you like to get some education on it, it's free, then you have to be is 18 and up and have a high school diploma or high school equivalency, you would simply call 317-991-3150. That's 317-991-3150, or simply email us at info@mccindiana.org. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring such a powerful person on our show. I'm going to go ahead and read her bio before I actually talk with her. She sent me, I tell you what, if I was to read her bio, it would just take up all of the show. That's just how much accomplishment she have had over the years. But let me give you guys a taste of what she does. She's an educator. She's an elected official. She's a facilitator, writer, historian. She's a community activist as well as a radio host. She holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Martin University and holds 3 master's degrees from Ball State University in adult community education. She's executive development for public service and community technical education. And they also hold a certification in community leadership from Ivy Tech State College, and that is past president of Pike Township Democratic Club, secretary of Community of Concerned Clergy, Indianapolis, Indiana, and she's an elected official right now serving as Pike Township trustee. Without further ado, let's welcome our special guest, Annette, Black Power Presents. How are you, Annette? How are you today?
Everything is good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. It's
all right.
It's a new experience. This is what we do on COVID. You know, we kind of upgrade, and you know, we go on the social media while we're on the broadcast live. So actually, they're on 1310 as well as 92.7. Our radio listeners, as well as our Facebook friends, are listening right now to you. So you doing pretty good today?
Everything's going good. Super busy as always, but everything's good today.
Yeah, I think that we probably will have Dr. Rush come on and join us as well. One of my good friends and mentors. Awesome. So when I speak of the trustee's office, a lot of times people are confused because you got so many different variety of local departments, and especially, you know, with so much just going on with the COVID virus and whatnot that is taking place. Can you help us understand your position and how that works with the trustee office?
All right. Well, again, hello, everybody. And again, I'm Annette Johnson, a newly elected trustee in Pike Township. I was sworn in on January the 1st, 2019. So I've been in office a year and 9 months. And so really working hard to learn the job and bring a lot of transparency to the community and the residents in Pike Township. A lot of people say, what is a trustee? Well, right now, trustees are super, super busy. We have 9 townships in Marion County, and each township has a trustee. So I'm alongside Washington Township, Wayne Township, Center Township, Warren, Lawrence, Decatur, Perry, and Franklin. So again, 9 trustees in the surrounding area, and I'm responsible for poor relief in Pike Township, and that's what trustees are out there advocating and working. We provide poor relief, and that can be in numerous of forms. It could be right now we're getting hit heavily with mortgage and rental payments because of the COVID-19. A lot of people have lost their job, or some of the hours have been cut. So again, a trustee is responsible for paying payments for mortgages, rental. We do burial services for people that may not have burial insurance. We are there in the trustee's office to make sure your loved ones are buried in a proper manner. We also provide food, clothing as well. I work closely with Pike schools as well in Pike Township, and so we provide school uniforms for students and families that are needing that as well. We give out food vouchers as well through Kroger's. I have a great partnership with Kroger's Foods out in Pike Township, so I'm able to give out food vouchers as well, which are gift cards where people can go, shopping for food as well. So I would say any type of service that you need. We are experimenting and trying to work closely with shelter, and that's one of the things that a trustee hasn't been able to get too involved in with shelter, because that can be pretty expensive, and the trustee's office is run on a budget that is set, from the local government, sets up the budget for each township. So depending on how much money that I'm given each year, I work from the budget to be able to provide as much services as I can provide for people in need.
Well, I think that is great. Now, when I look over your portfolio here, I think it's extremely impressive because, with this show being a Black Power Presents type of a show, of course, people are concerned on how this is affecting Black people. One thing I do believe, talking with Dr. Virginia King, matter of fact, I want to digress a little bit. In my party, I turned 50, you know what I mean? And Dr. King was there, and she done a wonderful job helping educate those that were helping us celebrate our 50th birthday in relations to this COVID virus. And one of the things she did mention is that this COVID virus is really hitting Black people a lot harder than it is hitting the other races of people. So it's encouraging to know that, that you're working with the concerned clergy, that you are a member of the NAACP, which is some of the main groups that work with African-American people. And so I think that that's very impressive. But my question to you is, as far as your office, it seems like you probably have some highs and some lows. And have you seen like a greater population that's coming into the office in need for your services and support?
I would say yes. With the COVID-19, we are getting hit pretty hard right now. And if you know anything about Pike Township is a very diverse community. We're the most diverse community of all the 9 townships that we have. And so we have a high population of African Americans, and we have a high population of Hispanics as well. The trustee's office, again, is there to help and provide. My office as well is very diverse. I have each, members on our staff that are able to work with the different individuals. Again, we have a lot of, Hispanics that come in, so I have to make sure that I do have my caseworkers are fluent in Spanish and they're able to translate and help. And so my office right now has 3 caseworkers that work with the individuals that come into the office as well. And, the trustee's office, again, has so many things that they do. It's like being a mini mayor, because the population of Pike Township is over 82,000 residents. That's bigger than some of our cities, around the state of Indiana. So we have over 82,000 residents. So that's why they kind of call us like a mini mayor, because we're dealing with, I would say, a small city within inside of a city. And with that, the trustee's office is connected to, the small claims court. So I have the small claims court as well in the office. And then what's unique about my being a trustee, I have a fire department. And a lot of the townships, they do not have fire departments anymore. But there's 3 fire departments left in the township. So Decatur Township has a fire department, Wayne Township has a fire department, and Pike Township has a fire department. The other townships have pretty much consolidated with IFD, but I've been able, again, with us being over 82,000 residents, I mean, it's very important that we have services that, can be provided for the people that live in Pike Township. So I'm very thankful, and I'm very excited that I'm able to have a small claims court right beside me, which is very important right now with the evictions and things that are going on, and then also have a great fire department as well within Pike Township.
Well, you know, Annette, you have said it. You have said a lot. I mean, and I want to kind of, and I just got my good friend, my pastor, historian, Dr. Lionel T. Rush, that has joined
Hey,
us.
yes.
And he's always thinking. He's a thinking man,
Mhm.
and I kind of follow right behind him to try to get all the knowledge I can. But welcome, Dr. Rush. I'm glad you remembered us this week.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here. And when I saw Annette up there, I love Annette, but I really love her mama. We friends. She gonna pray for me. She gonna keep me up. She 10 toes down with me. And when we're at the meeting, I tell Annette, girl, your mama, she the one.
She's listening to you right now.
That's right. She's a sweet lady. You know, I haven't really had a chance to take you guys out to lunch. Maybe when the COVID virus kind of dies down, maybe we can do that. But Pastor Annette has said a whole lot. She just hurried up and just ran through the whole program of all of what she does. And most people are just, kind of still trying to unpack, all of what she does. But this is who she is. I mean, she's multifaceted. You see, she has served in so many different areas. Matter of fact, when I was reading this bio, I'm like, man, half the people don't even accomplish a third of what this is in their lifetime. And she's already have accomplished so much and still yet going. But one of the things I was yet concerned with, of course, I don't know if you know it in that, but we work very closely with the homeless. As a matter of fact, this Saturday, I was actually at the homeless shelter with the Willis Mission. I can prove it to you. I got a key to the Willis Mission. When they see me, they be like, hey, he's a staff member. That's how much we hang out there. But one of the things that we're doing, we're actually literally training these men to receive a certification in construction and also have a OPS, which is a employer that comes and also helps get them employed while they're in training. So they're actually making $12 an hour, and they see me on Saturday for the training. Dealing with the homeless, I know you say it can be expensive, but of course, I don't think that Pike Township has a shelter. So how do you maneuver, this big population that you have, like you said, being a mini mayor and then having this homeless responsibility? How do you connect your services with that population?
And that's what we do, Mr. Limpscomb. We are able to have wraparound services where I don't have a shelter in Pike Township, but I'm able to pick up a phone, call somebody. I'm working hard to make these connections, to connect the dots. So when we do get someone that comes into our offices in need, we're able to provide a temporary spot for them, put them up in a hotel. But that doesn't last but no longer than 3 or 4 days because of the money is very expensive to do that. But within the 3 to 4 days where they're in the particular hotel, we're able to try to find some place where it'll be more permanent. I've been able to connect with a couple of churches. They've been very helpful with finding shelter. Pastor Terry Webster over at New Corinthian, and he's a great person that I've been able to connect with. Pastor Carlos Perkins, which is new to Indianapolis, but he's over at Bethel. He's able to also help me, get some monies or connect or find places for individuals. Now, again, Pike Township, to me, I would kind of explain it. You have the low end, and then you have the middle, and then the high end of residents. So it's a pretty rich community, I would say, for the most part. So we don't see a lot of homelessness, and if it's few in numbers. And so I think we're able to keep people in Pike Township, I would say, employed with jobs and so forth. And so that's why I don't have that big need. But you know what? That's one of the challenges that a trustee's office has. And that's all trustees. And we have spoken about this on numerous occasions with other trustees. what has to happen is, and this is from the governor would have to expand services for trustees, services, what we can do and how we can do it. And with those services, it would have to, money is involved. So again, our budget would have to be, expanded so that we can help homelessness in our communities. But right now, we are very limited to what a trustee can do. A trustee, again, pays for burials. It's there to do your rent, your mortgages, again, food vouchers, clothing, help the school districts with school supplies and book bags and uniforms. But that's one area that a trustee has not been able to really tap into.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. But again, that would be something that the legislators would have to come together and figure out what can a trustee do.
Right. And I know Pastor and I have been talking about this, lift of being able to evict people now that have lost their jobs. Some of it's due to the COVID virus. Some of it's due to some people were never working and they took advantage of the actual time that the governor gave for people to not pay rent. Because I'm a landlord and I got one guy who got 5 months out of me and still kind of comes around, but that's a whole nother story. So, Pastor, have you seen this rise of homelessness? I think you mentioned it yesterday, that people are losing their homes and whatnot due to this COVID virus. What do you say about this and maybe some ways that we can make things better, especially from, dealing with it from the biblical perspective? And I want to say this too. When people come up to the altar and they say, I'm homeless, I don't think we say, okay, now let's pray for them. I think we need to pray and then find something out. But go ahead, Pastor. Let me get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I talked to people like Annette. I talked the other day to our congressman. These are terrible times. I didn't look at the number before I came on, but I think we had 194 million people dead in America, and we anticipate we're losing about 1,000 people a day. So in 9/11, we lost 3,000 people. So every 3 days, we're having a new 9/11 in America. And then we have about 13 to 15 million people out of work. And there's been this safety valve with utilities and with rent in May, June, July, and around August the 14th or 15th in some places, that safety valve was removed. And we're now at September. We're looking, if we listen to Dr. Anthony Fauci, if we listen to Virginia King, who we talked to yesterday, they're expecting either what you would call a second wave, or we haven't finished with the first wave, and now we are adding on to those falls not only the pandemic of coronavirus, but we're in the midst of at least a recession and almost a depression, and we have the hurricanes in the south and the east, and we also now have the wildfires in California. And those winds are morphing, and they're going to places like Indiana and beyond. Having said all of that, people like Annette and all the trustees and people like our congressman who are fighting hard, he said to me, they went back, they tried to negotiate out. I think it was at loggerheads now. The Democrats are at 2.2 million. The president and his group are under that, and they don't want to come to a certain number. Part of that might be the post office. So it's a very complex problem, but at the end of the day, people are sick, people are dying, people are now out of work, and now they're going to be out of homes. I think NBC ran the story last week that people being evicted in Texas and showing people just summarily been put out. So it's an issue that is like the old kids game, ready or not, here I come. And ready or not, this thing is up on us right now. And I can tell you right now, you had a birthday 2 days ago, September the 11th. Before this month is over, a number of people are going to be put out of their home. The leads are changing. Annette, the leads are, and I know, see, let me just say this about Annette. I have to say this really quick. Every one of y'all who come to us and say, hey, help us run for trustee, help us run for judge, help us run for this, let me tell you something. You need to go talk to people like Annette. Annette's been in the game and in the fight for years before we say the Honorable Annette. She has been honorable and she has shown up as all president accounted for. And so if you want to come by and ask us to help you get something, show that you're worthy of it before you ever ask for the job. But even as much as Annette has done and some of the others have done, we're at a crisis now that's almost about to be too big for all of us. I'm telling you, we're at a crisis. These people are going to be put out of the homes. The light companies are going to start cutting off lights. In September, the leaves are changing. The temperature will drop. They're going to be homeless. And we're going to face the second part of this coronavirus crisis. And that's because we didn't do it right in the first place.
Well, that's so true, Pastor. Now, one thing I want to ask of you all, because this is a day and time that I don't think we have ever experienced. I mean, I know America has, out throughout the history, has been through a lot of different changes, Great Depression and whatnot. But just to see people walking around with these face masks like we're all in this sci-fi movie, and it seems as though this is just normal for us to now. And I mean, I just spent $70 or $80 on masks. It just seems like it's even turned into a big business now. And we have the election coming up, and from my understanding, it seems as though there has been a lot of balls dropped when it comes to caring for people. And Annette, I think that what you do, it just almost sounds like you kind of help when people are at their lowest. I mean, when you start talking about food assistance and rental assistance and all of that, it seems like that's when things really start smoking for you, and you have a limited budget and everything is political. How are you going to be able to make it with such a, I mean, I know, are you going to have to turn people away? I mean, what are you going to be able to do? How are you going to help?
Again, we have a set budget that we're given every year. And so there's money in my budget. So I'm okay. What I've been able to do, and I think it's been successful for my office, I've been able to build partnerships with area churches. And that's where the food comes in. I have a food pantry. We've never had a food pantry at the trustee's office. So I did put together a food pantry and got donations. Again, I have a fire department. So, you have to learn how to be creative. I have firemen that work for me. And so they have been very instrumental with putting together 2 to 3 food drives a year. And that helps me to sustain the food in the food pantry. I've been able to partnership with McFarland Food, which has been giving out food weekly. And we've been able to work with, again, Pastor Terry Westrover at New Corinthian. And we give out food every week. Once a week, we have truckloads of food that is dropped off. Been able to give out that on a weekly basis. Now, what I'm scared about is we've been doing it for 8 weeks. We did it all August, part of July, August, September now. What I'm scared about is we were able to do it outside in the elements of the weather. And the weather has been very nice. And so now we're about to have the conversation. What do we do for October or November or December, the cold months? How do we distribute food to these families in need in Pike Township? So that's the conversations that I'm putting forth, because again, we're going to run out of warm weather in the next month or so. I mean, it's easy to stand outside, 9:00 in the morning to 12 noon and just pass out boxes and boxes of food till it's all gone. And again, that's through McFarland Foods. But what as a trustee, what I think I'm good at building relationships. I'm good at begging. I don't have an issue with calling businesses and saying, can you donate to my food pantry? And then, then I get a check in the mail for $1,000 for food. Because again, it's all about the partnerships. It's all about our community. If everybody in the community is thriving, the community is good. Think about that. So in Pike Township, I'm working hard to make sure that everybody in the community is taken care of. So we have these big businesses in Pike. You have the Coates Complex. I have all these racing teams from the Speedway that are housed in Pike Township. And I don't have an issue with knocking on the door and saying, can you come alongside the trustee's office with the churches in Pike? And let's build, these relationships and help.
Okay, I think that is great, Annette. We're coming at the half of our show, and I would like for our radio listening audience, if you're listening to us right now and you're concerned about somebody that may be struggling in Pike Township, may need some rental assistance, may need some type of disastrous relief, please call 317-239-1310, 317-239-1310. Call in while we have Annette with us. I mean, you're getting to talk directly to her. You're not talking to a caseworker. You're talking to the person that actually hires the caseworker on our show. And Dr. Rush, man, as we talk, our hearts go out for the children. Annette is working with the elementary schools. She's a educator. She has her degree in education, dealing with the elementary schools and whatnot. Man, I mean, this is just a terrible time and how they have to go on these computers and learn. They're not interacting with their peers and whatnot. And I think, what are we going to do when it gets cold and these kids are suffering, needing these resources and these support, Pastor? Are we reaching out to these pastors and trying to get some type of strategic plan, working with the trustee's office? And then that's the first question I got. And the second question I got is, how are we going to change things in real time politically? Because we know, like you teach us, Pastor, we African-American people make up 23% of Marion County's population. Yet it seems like we always get the short end of the stick when it comes to the investment. It goes more so toward these bigger, whiter groups, or groups that are controlled by white folks. And a lot of times it don't trickle down to the grassroots organizations that are actually doing the work and can be a greater help with the trustee's office. Pastor, how do we connect all these dots in real time?
Well, a couple of things. Bob Woodward just came out with his book. It's on sale. The audio book is $14. The book itself is $27.99. No, I'm looking at Fear. His new book is called Rage, and that just came out. It's $21. You can get it at I won't tell you because I won't advertise, but you can get it there. And it's a game changer. It's a game changer because, among other things, as it bears on your question, Bob Woodward had about 18 interviews with the President of the United States, and those interviews went back to February and March. And in it, he asked some very pointed questions, and there was some very pointed discussion, particularly about this coronavirus. And I think it bears on everything that you're talking about right now. Because right now, if we were just simply talking to Trustee Annette or any trustee, we would have the discussion with her as we had with the prosecutor, with the prosecutor's office, with the mayor, with the governor, and with the others. as regards African American business. When we met with the prosecutor on several occasions, we brought our own statistics and we asked them those fundamental questions. How large is your staff? What percentage of your staff is African American? What percentage of your legal staff is African American? How large is your budget? What percentage do you spend with African American businesses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And when we talk to the prosecutor, we want to know about capital crime. Is there any disparity in the way you prosecute, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Those are the kind of questions we ask the prosecutor. We ask the mayor the same kind of question. Tell us the percentage of your budget that you spend with African American. How do you help people become ready, willing, and able with SBEs, with veterans, and with the disabled and women? Those kinds of things. When we talk about minorities, we don't say minorities. I mean, how do you do business with black people? BLACK, black people. We want to know that. Those kind of questions. And so we would do the same thing, of course, with trustees and with anyone who's in the public trust and money's flowed back and they have to implement or appropriate money. But after the Woodward book and after the fact that we got only 4% of this world, is 8.3 billion people in the world, we have in America around 328 to 352. The reason I said that because there are some people in the shadows by design because they don't want to be called out and cut up. So we only have 4% of the population of the world. But as you say, on the wrong side of the index, Dicey, we have too many of us are in jail on probation or parole. We have not enough of us doing business, and we have not enough of us doing business with entities like Annette and others. But as we face her today, this Bob Woodward book got us in a catch-22, because what Bob Woodward taped the president is saying is, I knew in February that coronavirus is not like the flu that was 5 times worse than the flu. I knew in February that it can kill old people, but I also knew in February that it will kill young people. I knew all of this stuff back in February, and I knew it in March. I knew that you didn't have to touch anything to get coronavirus. All you do is just breathe. I knew all of this stuff. Well, when it came out last week that Bob Woodward let the cat out of the bag, then the only defense was, well, I'm a cheerleader. I told you all those lies. I told you I don't wear a mask. I told you all that stuff because I wanted calm. I liken myself to Winston Churchill. That's a little bit like saying, that you knew beforehand that the Japanese were going to bomb Pearl Harbor, but you wouldn't tell anybody because you wanted calm. That's absolutely nuts.
Right.
Having said all of that, right now, we cannot interview and talk to Annette in the same way that we would, because right now we in a position as we talked to Dr. King last night, we're trying to save these kids. We're trying to save us. We're in another posture. Somebody have lied to us. Every one of us know people we have buried. Every one of us know people that died in a hospital. When you and I was out the other day and we saw LaDonna Freeman, we were so happy to see her because the last time we saw her in intensive care with all those tubes down. Every one of us knows that. So right now, we're trying to, here's our strategy right now. We got to triage where we are right now. Somebody lied to us. Many people died. We got to do something for this election in 50-something days. We got to try to get these people out of here, get the right people in, and then we can go back to normal to ask these hard questions of our leaders.
Let me say this to you, Dr. Rush and Annette. We got Dr. Rush cornered now. Okay, we got him cornered. He's an activist like us. We sharing that burden. We can't keep asking questions, Reverend. We got to do more than just ask questions. We got to do something that's more than just asking the questions. I know, I don't want to try to get in trouble with my leader here, but I want to see something happen. We got them cornered in that. You ever seen that tag team wrestling? When they tag and one jump in there? I think with this show, we want to try to make a difference. And so we want our pastor and his leadership. He's a historian here in this city, connected politically. We want him to get some pastors together that will contact you and your other colleagues, your other trustee peers to see how, and we need to possibly bring in some political people to see how we can get this done up front. Because one of the worst things we can do is see the snow hit the ground and these kids are in these tents with these parents. And so I know we can do better. I believe we can do better.
I vow to you before this week is I will be in touch with Annette. I'm committed to contacting 25 pastors. And whatever Annette gives us directions about how we do this, I'm ready. Because the reason why I said I'm going to be in contact with Annette, I deal with people that I trust because I ain't got time to waste time. And Annette can tell us who else to contact. And I'm in it, and that means that all my members are in it, including the one that's in charge of this program today. So we're gonna make this happen. Y'all give us a direction, and I promise you we will do it this week.
You see, he put me to work too. That's all right. I ain't mad at him. Because when he show up, I'ma show up. He already know that. But Annette, if you would be so kind, and I want our radio listeners audience to know that there are people out here that genuinely care. A lot of times people think that, living in this day and time, we don't speak to each other like we should, and we don't share that level of compassion and concern like we used to, like people down south. But I think that even with these children being affected by this virus and being isolated from classrooms and so forth and so on, and some of them are on the brink of being put out with their parents, we do have an obligation as spiritual leaders to at least write a letter, make a phone call, be under your direction as our trustee to see how we can aid and abet and assist before this thing gets thrown out of proportion, because you take on a big burden of this city with just your population. And I'm quite sure there's other trustees that are feeling the weight and the brunt of this pandemic. And we don't want to wait to the last minute, because it could be some budget cut, and there could be some savings maybe that could take place if we catch people before they die. You don't have to pay for their funeral. So I think that, we're obligating ourselves. For example, Dr. Rush has allowed me to get into the jails. We have over 175 people that we're serving in the jails that are going to be released. And a lot of times people don't look at these people as being homeless people, but a lot of these people that are in jail, their address is 520 East Market Street, which is the Willis Mission. They're homeless. And so we're trying to catch people. We're trying to get in the women's jail as well in that, so that we can catch these people while they're in the jail, upon release, having a job, a sustainable job, education that can lead into a career opportunity. Now, these things are free. Why wouldn't we get together and try to work with our trustees to get the word out about how we can be a support to people while they're in this crisis? So we got them on camera, and you heard them, didn't you? And we can play it. We got it on camera. We got it on Facebook. And so what's your thoughts about that, Annette? I mean, do you think that would be a good thing for you or where you are right now?
Yeah, I'm concerned about, again, food for people during these winter months that we're going to be experiencing. I don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. I don't know if we're going to have a higher number of people that will be affected by it. And that's what I'm concerned about, because the food has helped tremendously. Because think about it, if you're able to save money on your groceries every week, you can use that money for other things that you need as far as your utilities. But again, I mean, there's a lot of resources out there. And I know my office is working nonstop to make sure everybody, has what they have. And Elder Rush, you were talking about burials. I've had a couple of COVID-19 burials. Very, very saddening for me to have to experience that when we have a client comes in and says they have to bury a loved one, and it was because of COVID-19. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've had 2 burials so far. And to me, 2 is too many. And so it's very sad because the COVID is real. It's real. Who would have thought that you would have that going on? I mean, of course, we know people pass away, but just to lose a loved one to COVID-19 has been very saddening.
Okay. Well, we're actually looking at the down time of our, we're on the downslope of our show. So I really wanted to see if there was someone who would like to have called in. The number is 317-239-1310 is 317-239-1310. Of course, people see this and we'll play it back. And if there's some emergencies that we might run into. Now, the question probably will be, will you be willing to help someone even outside of Pike Township get to the necessary service providers to help them? Okay, yes. And how would you go about that?
Well, they can just call my office, which is 317-291-5801. And our office is open Monday through Friday. We have caseworkers. So we haven't stopped working. We can't stop. We're essential workers. As far as the office hours, I was able to cut down the hours, whereas the caseworkers are actually in the office. But because of the wonderful technology that we have, all our documents are online, all the forms that you're needed to fill out. We have not missed a beat. I have a website finally for the Pike Township Trustee's Office. We never had a website, so it has all my information up there. The times where we're located, caseworker, any information you need. Because again, I want to be as transparent as I can. Now, some things you just can't be transparent about everything, but as much as I can, as far as community, I want to be transparent, and that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. Hey, we have a caller, faithful guy who calls in every week. Larry, go ahead, Larry. Let's hear your comments.
I trust Annette Johnson because she's on the level. But what Lionel Rush is talking, he's trying to convince somebody to vote for some person who has 50 years to do something for our community, who is incompetent and can't stand on the stage for 5 minutes. Just look at him on YouTube. Look at him on Google him and see what his last speech was like. This man is nothing but an incompetent person that needs to go and sit down somewhere. Him and Kamala Harris, too. They're the new face of racism, and Lionel knows that. But you talk about this stuff that's going on in Marion County, the laws and stuff of eviction. That was all done under Bill Crawford and Tony Duncan. I remember seeing them down at the State House in a back room talking about raising Tony's fees to do something to do with eviction. And of course, a lot of other stuff went in under that they were illiterate to, but they were looking at dollar signs. So those were untrustworthy people who are responsible for what's going on. Dr. Kane is another one who's responsible. And I know people don't like to hear this, but I know she has enough money to go and retire now because she is destroying our kids. She's destroying businesses and doing everything else under the assumption that this is a bioterrorism.
Okay, now I appreciate you calling in every week, but at the same time, I think that we got to be careful on who we attack. And what has been said on the show, I think I'm responsible as the host to address things. One of the things he said that is very inflammatory, and that is directed toward Pastor Rush. And I don't think that we have said anything about voting for anybody in this segment. I think we mentioned registration, but I don't have the ability nor the authority on this show to be able to recommend anybody politically. And I just wanted to make sure that's understood, that we can't endorse any political candidate, especially while we're on 1310. But then Dr. Rush,
Yes,
he
sir.
came in the case, man. I think he, when you looking at wrestling, that's when somebody jump off the third rope with the ladder and hit the person in the back with it. And now I need to see you get up and see what you're going to do with those inflammatory remarks. What do you think about what Larry was saying?
Well, I won't defend me, but I'll defend Bill Crawford. And I will certainly defend Dr. Virginia King. If you say something about Dr. Virginia King in my presence, I'm going to call you out on it. And I will call you out on Bill Crawford. May he rest in peace. I think he's done so much for this community. And, they call you, I was on this same show years back with Amos Brown. And I had just left Cincinnati. And so somebody called me like Larry did. And by the way, Larry, I love you. But somebody called in like Larry just did, and he said a lot of stuff. And Amos said, Elder, did you hear what that guy said? I said, yeah. He said, well, why aren't you going to say anything? I said, because I've been to the Cincinnati Zoo. So Amos Brown said, okay, what does that mean? And I said, I was at the Cincinnati Zoo, and this hippopotamus was down in the water, and he came out of the water, and so I said, look at that lion. And I said that the hippopotamus just went back out in the water, and he didn't respond because somebody said, look at that lion. And they said, well, why didn't he respond? Because the hippopotamus knew he was a hippopotamus, so he didn't have to respond to somebody calling him a lion. So that's just my response to Larry. And I will say this, though. Yes, I am inveighing against Donald John Trump because as a veteran, anybody that allows somebody to put up $100,000 on the head of another veteran, have Russia give the money to the Taliban to kill veterans. I'm a disabled veteran. My brother's a disabled veteran. It was 10 of us, 9 boys that served in this man's Army, Marine, Air Forces. And any president that allowed that to happen that don't say anything, I'm going to tell something against it. Anybody that allow a virus like this to come in and have this kind of dereliction of duty in order to keep the stock market up, it's a shame before God. It's terrible. It's satanic. It's demonic. It's wicked. It's evil. And anybody that does that ought to be out.
Yeah, and I agree, Pastor. And I'm going to say this in connection with that. I'm not advocating for any political candidate on this show. But one thing I will do is fight for the honor of Dr. King. I've known her briefly through Dr. Rush. I've called her personally and I've talked to her in issues in relations to working with those that are in jail. I have also worked with her with helping the homeless. As a matter of fact, we got together and passed out clothes we had over 600 people, homeless people, clothes. Men, women, and children did not know that the coronavirus stayed on closed up to 9 days until she told us that. She made sure that we had the bill paid for the cleaners. She made sure that we were able to house the clothes in a particular place.
All the cleaners. All the cleaners.
All 3 cleaners that we were talking to, and 2 that performed outstanding. She paid for the storing of the clothes. She paid for the clothes to be given out. She was a very integral part of helping all the information circulate throughout the city to help the homeless population. So I have nothing but honor, praise, and respect for Dr. Virginia King. And also, if we had not had her, which is the 12th largest city here in America, then we probably would be going to Annette begging for more burial services for people who would have lost their lives due to the COVID virus. So, Larry, I appreciate you calling in every week. I know you feel strongly about your opinions and whatnot, but on this side, on this show, Black Power Presents, Dr. Virginia Kane is my hero. She's one of my heroes that I will stand alongside of her and fight any day of the week, whether it be in the neighborhood, whether it be on the side of the road, whether it be on the highway, wherever she would be, that's where you will find me, because I have nothing but the utmost respect for Dr. Virginia Kane. We're approaching about the end of the show, and our wonderful guest, I'm gonna have to invite her back because she has so much to offer here. But I want to go ahead and give you the last closing words, and then we're going to hear briefly from Dr. Rush, and then
Can I answer something first?
Go right ahead.
Something first. Trustee, if it's possible, our hosts have asked us an important question. How can we anticipate the rest of this year, seeing that there's been a failure at the highest level, and we can't just be stuck here with no plan and no strategy? I am willing to work to help with all the forces that I can, whether it's in the religious community or others. But if you would give us the leadership, when you talking to other trustees and you come up with a plan, whatever you need us to do, whether it's to write letters to the governor, get the legislators to say, get you some more money, whatever plan you have, I'm ready to work behind you.
Thank you, Elder Rush, for those comments. I think it's important that we get with our elected officials, whether that be Congressman Carson and our state reps and state senators, and see if there's some way possible that we can get some updated language as far as the guidelines for the trustee's office. That's where we're failing at. We're still working under old guidelines that we've had in place for the last 10, 15 years. And with things going on within our society, things change, and we have to learn how to change and adjust as well. So I think that's where we need to start. And to me, that's where it's more important, but that we change the language of, the guidelines and combat, I would say, what's needed for the clients that come into the office. We need to change and adjust our guidelines for trustees' offices.
Okay. Also, me and Annette have been talking, and Dr. Rush, I think this is a low-hanging fruit item. She's concerned about how the absentee ballots can get over into those that are in the jail.
Oh, yes.
She sent an email to me, as well as, we're training in the jail, so we maybe can circle back with her and the sheriff and see how we all can work together with the 40 and get get this service done with those who are trying to get their ballot turned in. Well, folks, it's been a wonderful broadcast, and
thank you.
Hopefully you felt welcome, and
I did. Thank you.
Yes,
I need to come back on.
Okay, yeah,
Please
we want
get
you
her back on.
We definitely needed to come back on. Well, radio family, and also my Facebook family, we just want to tell you,
to you.
This is Adam. Happy birthday
to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. God bless you. And you all have a great, great, great time serving the Lord. If you're serving them, serve them well. Do this COVID virus. Have a blessed day. Peace.